Here we are again, folks. Thank you for joining me. When you hear your family. All right, so I'm Theron Ramacharaka. Greetings. This video introduces another one. I don't have the technology to combine my comments here, my introduction, with a video that I've already created. So I have to, do this and then upload that. The other video, the one I'm introducing here, and I have specific reasons here. There's a little method for this apparent madness of actually providing an introduction to another video. The video is a musical composition, an instrumental, just me playing my bass. I have 3 videos of me doing that here on this channel. I had a purpose for those. They're part of a set, and it's like a triumvirate thing. But this is different. This is different. All right. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I think I'm going to call it either Satan Nation or One Nation Under God. Not under God, but under God. Like a god of the underworld. Right. The implication being that, and I have my American flag behind me in the video. So, there are some implications there. All right. I want to explain this to you. I have a couple of reasons for doing this. I just get out of jail whenever I played that. I hadn't played my bass. I was in jail for 6 months. I was accused of terroristic threats. There were some homeless people that my wife had dragged in here, in a sense, sleeping on my floor. And I wasn't very happy about it. And one guy was an ex-Marine, an E6 Marine, and he had been in Afghanistan twice. And he had some pretty bad PTSD from it. And he was pretty messed up. And as a matter of fact, just days before he came in here and crashed on my living room floor, his son, who had gone in the Marines, like father, like son, over in Afghanistan, just like his dad had been, and he got himself killed. So this guy, the father, was really messed up at the moment. And he was homeless, and it was winter. One of the things he was doing a lot was making a lot of, he was talking in a kind of like if I was accused of terroristic threats, well, this guy was acting like that in my home, not toward me, but it was a little spooky, it was kind of talk I don't want in my home, saying things like, if anybody messes with you or her, me and my wife, I'll shoot, I'll pop a cap, I'll blow them up, I'll blow them a little holes, man. Anybody messes with you, man, hell, you're the best bass player I ever heard, for one thing, in the world. I never heard anybody play bass like you. You got this shit down, man. That's the way a bass should be played. Anybody messes with you, I'll pop them. I'll pop a cap in the head. And I was starting to think, man, well, what if I get into an argument with my wife? Which one of us gets the lead in the head from this guy? Anybody? Jeez, and this guy, everything I was talking about Sasquatch, Bigfoot to this guy. Because out where he sleeps in the woods near here, there's a Sasquatch running around. I know that. So I wanted him to be aware of that because he said he saw something. And he described a Sasquatch to me one night, and that he had seen one night. And I was talking about Sasquatch. And he said, that motherfucker comes around me, man, I'll pop him in the head, man. I'll blow him away. In this guy's mind, everything was to be blown away. I didn't like this. And I had some bad nightmares one night. And then I got up, and there he is, hogging up my living room floor. Kind of smelling bad. And I just, I kind of went military a little bit, and I I created a frightening situation for him. This guy's twice my size, you know? And so, I know that homeless people, if you let them in your home, they can be kind of sticky. Kind of hard to get rid of them, especially in the winter. I want to let this guy know this is my home, and he's not welcome now. He needs to go. And I made a confrontational situation, and for God's sakes, my damn wife got on the phone because this guy said, "Call 911." So she did, and the state police showed up, and I got accused of terroristic threats. So I went to jail for 6 months while this guy stayed in my freaking house with my wife. And I wasn't allowed to have contact with my wife because she was a witness for the opposing team in court if there was going to be anything come of that. But it didn't, By the time I got a court date, 6 months had passed, and I was just sent home. It just took that long to see a judge. All within due process, but due process is a little slow. A little slow at getting what you're due these days. All right, so I was not in a very good mood, because I couldn't talk to my wife about all this. I didn't know what the heck was going on in my home the whole 6 months. I had no clue. I was kind of pissed off. I didn't play my bass either. But I had been doing finger exercises in anticipation of playing my bass when I got home. So it took me like 2 weeks to get my wits together. And then I picked up my bass and I played this. The video that I'm introducing here. I played this. And, the American flag in the background. And you'll notice on the other side of the image, the shot, there's a painting on the wall with an upside down cross on it. I made that. I used to do spray paint art. In my, I do everything kind of like uniquely is my way. And, I kind of had the same thing in mind when I did that. If you can see it up close, there's a lot of detail. Many, many layers of different kinds of paint and lacquers and finishes and so forth that don't really match. So there are a lot of strange effects. If you look really close, you can see, and there are many layers of clear on top and in between, and I even sprayed ammonia on there a couple of times, because it causes separations of colors. There's some high quality paints there too, metallics and so forth, but you can't really tell that from it being over there on the wall. But it's an upside down cross, and it doesn't symbolize anything that I hold dear, for God's sakes. No, but it kind of goes with the flag over there because, in my opinion, what that flag represents has turned into something that is more like that picture over there on the wall with the upside down cross and what it represents than anything. And there I am in the middle of them playing how I feel about all that. And I felt like, me going to jail for 6 months over terroristic threats when I was a young man, what I did wouldn't have been called a terroristic threat. If anybody called the police over what I did to get this guy out of the house, to make him certain, that he knows that his talk about capping a motherfucker or whatever the hell, and making inferences that it, having to do with my wife and I, however indirectly, when it comes to my home, he'll never win. I will. And he needs to go. No questions. Go. Anyway. I was speaking his language, in a sense. Something he'd understand. Something he could relate to. But it scared the hell out of him. I didn't know he was going to do that. I thought this guy was going to, like the confrontational. Oh my God. This guy was scared. I didn't know it was coming off like that. Jesus. It worked. No. Oh, my goodness. Jesus. I thought this guy could handle himself a little better. He couldn't. All right. When I got home, I kind of felt like, yeah, I stepped over the line. I mean, for the way things are these days in our society. I mean, God, you got to be careful around here, man. You can go to jail for damn near anything anymore. All right, so, yeah. You can't even tell somebody, you can't even talk to anybody anymore in a manner that traditionally in this country was a manner in which you were letting somebody know that you mean business. Oh, terroristic threat. If you know this in this country now, in the United States, the definition of a terroristic threat is if you say something to somebody with the intent, maybe not the only intent, but just involving an intent to cause fear. That is a terroristic threat. That is it. I learned that. Well, that counts out a hell of a lot of meaningful discourse with people. Be careful, right? So, I had 6 months to think about all this. And when I got out, I came home 2 weeks later, when I felt like I could play my bass, with some presence of mind about it. I sat between the flag and that picture that I had painted. And I played what I felt like being stuck between the two of those, because I think the two of those kind of go together. All right? I just improvised like I always do when I play my bass. And listen, one of my motives here for showing you this is the state of affairs. The social state of affairs that I'm saying this all represents. The composition, too. I had this in mind when I was doing this. I didn't know what I was going to play, but, there's a lot of thought that goes into this. It's not just like, free thinking, like what do they call it, free association, tuning into whatever. No. There's a lot of thought that goes into what I do. Every moment in real time, my brain is very active. I'm constantly asking and answering the question, what's next? And I try to create an impression. I don't play the bass like anybody else. Not that I know of. I never wanted to. I never did anything that would cause me to do that. I have my own way. And some of it's intense. To get the real intensity, maybe hook up your laptop or whatever you're listening with to your stereo at home or headphones, something like that. Because it's a mood. There's a message through sound. Sometimes certain things, when expressed with sound, through what we might call music, gets them through, gets that message said in a way that no other way will. Number two, a motive for doing this is why I have to give this introduction. I don't play the bass like other people. You might think it's just a bunch of noise. I don't give a shit. In my opinion, this whole, like one nation under God idea here going on in the United States these days is a bunch of noise. But I'm playing the composition of sound. I'm not trying to be musical. I'm using the instrument to make sound. My second reason here, though, is I want you to understand and observe and hear and watch something being done that's not being done like everybody else does it. It's not, I'm not being just another man in the crowd. With this thing I'm going to upload. Let that stand as an example. Whether or not you like this specific case, that's not the point. It's the principle that I'm getting at here. Let it serve as an example to you that you don't have to be just another man in the crowd. You don't have to be, in all aspects of your life, just another one of the sheeple. Now, there are benefits, to being normal, to going with the crowd in certain situations, like, maybe at your job. Don't make too much noise in some other direction than everybody else. Don't make extreme statements to people. Just like if you're taking an MMPI, Minnesota Multifaceted Personality Inventory test. It used to be a very popular psychological test. 5 choices. They ask you a question like, I usually feel upset when somebody wakes me up, before it's time to get up. One, if you check off, if you circle in, if you fill in the little dot that's number 1, that means never. All the way up to 5, which means always. Never do a 1 or a 5. Don't go to the extremes, either direction on any answer. Stay kind of like in the middle, because that's where everybody else is. Sometimes it's good, just be like everybody else. But when it comes to personal involvement in the face of shitloads of adversity, to such a thing, real genuine personal involvement on this, and at least in the United States, well, on this planet, self-mastery, the real shit, circumventing consciousness hijacking. While it might be a good idea to out in public appear to not, don't talk about that much. That might seem really extreme. Might make some enemies. Who knows? If people start asking you questions about it and you start talking about your motives and your ideas, you can step on some toes, and then, you might say, well, I don't give a shit. Yeah, you do. Everybody needs social cooperation in their lives. And they might not know why they're not getting it from a certain person. Forgetting all about 20 years ago, they said something that the other person didn't like politically. But in your doings with this, you're going to be having to step outside of the proverbial crowd. You're going to have to be stepping outside of the box. You're going to have to be getting a meta view, for example, for one thing, of what's, the actual conditions of the world, in order to just, even ideologically rise above them. A view that other people, a lot of other people don't have. Don't have to go about your affairs with yourself. Don't be afraid to go about them in a new way. A way that you create for yourself. I give you tools here. I give you instruction. I give you techniques. But I've already told you, these things are tried and true. But when you employ them, when you do them, the result that you create is yours. It's yours. You put it to work for you, and in some way or another, to some extent or another, you're going to have modified it and customized it for your understanding and for your starting point. This is up to you. The result is yours, and nobody can take it from you. and for you. It is unique to you. So my bass playing here is, it's different. It's not the usual. It's mine. I created this way of playing. It just happened. It wasn't my goal to come up with, like playing like I do. I just didn't learn to play like anybody else did. That's all. And I worked at it for 45 years now. So, and this was after 6 months of not playing at all. And this is what came out. This is what I wanted. This is what I was feeling and what I wanted to get onto. I wanted to record it. I wanted to, I just hit record and then I played. How I feel. It is how I was seeing things at the time about the human state of affairs and the perpetrators of consciousness hijacking. And all these steps toward totalitarian control of not just our lives and our money, our laws and so forth. I'm talking about our consciousness. That's why these reasons I've given you are why I'm going to post that video. It's not like I'm trying to get accolades and applause and comments for the me playing the bass. It's not about that. Come on, man. I have plenty of satisfaction and content with the way I play my bass already. I don't need you, making comments like, "Whoa, that's really cool." No, it's not even for that. It's not why I'm posting the video. I want you to see that it is possible to create your own in life. And I also want you to note the expression, the tonal expressions, the composition itself, as my point of view, symbolizing what we're up against in so doing. That's the reason for the video. Watch for it. Listen to it. I'm Theron, Ramacharaka. Be well.